While the Fatal Frame series hasn't really picked up too well in the States, it is considered one of the scary games in video game history, appealing to both your senses and your wit, putting players on edge as you go through different mansions or various places throughout Tokyo. Welcome to the world of Fatal Frame. We're going to be looking at the regional differences between the Japanese version as well as the US. While there isn't too much to really talk about in terms of content, there is a lot to analyze and really speak about this, so I think you guys will enjoy it. So let's dive right into the Humidor Mansion, but don't get scared on your part, alright? Alright, so for this video, we're going to be talking about three aspects that make these regional differences unique. We're going to first start with the cover art of the game. And there is a lot that we can actually talk about in terms of this one. So we're going to be starting with the Japanese version. As you can see in the front cover, we have a picture of Miku, which is our main character. Right next to her is the camera obscura, but if you look close to her cuff, you can see that there's a piece of rope that's actually off camera with some adornments right next to the rope. If you guys aren't too keen about the story, the main premise of the game is about the Humidor Mansion and the mystery surrounding the Shrine Maiden. And we really explore this throughout the entire game. Now, if the rope is on each of the specific ankles as well as the hands, it actually depicts death and that your death is going to be foretold and for long. So that's actually what's going to be foreshadowed in this actual cover, which is really nice to see that they actually took care and love into giving you a little bit of foreshadowing on what's to come. On the bottom, of course, it has a warning that says, hey, you should be careful, this is a mature game, and on the right we have the actual cover for Project Zero. However, if we look at the US version, there's actually quite an exact opposite here. Of course, you can see the title that says Fatal Frame, and on the bottom it says based on a true story. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later. You can see a little severed head as well as other different ghosts, as well as a 35mm film that's on the top of it. And if you really look at the back of the game as well, it really tells you that this is the scariest game that you'll ever play and all that jazz. And we can depict two things that really come into this. Going back to the Japanese title, the cover art focuses a lot more on the story premise of the game, as well as what you're going to be exploring and what's going to be foreboding. That's the main advertisement and appeal to this game back in the Japanese market. However, if you go into hindsight, look at the US version, you can see the game advertises more of a scare and horror aspect into it, as well as the mechanics of the camera obscura, making this a unique title in the States that would actually appeal to maybe some US horror aficionados. So that was the main selling point, which is really interesting when you put these comparisons in too. TLDR Japanese title focuses more on story, US focuses more on game mechanics, but it's rather interesting to see how Tecmo incorporated that. The same can be said for both title screens of the game. If you look at the US version, it is rather bland in comparison to the Japanese version, which actually has ropes that are connected to the Project Zero logo, also foreboding the Shrine Maiden and the mystery of the Shrine Maiden that we're going to be exploring in the game. Moving to our next aspect, we're going to be talking about the story of the game, or more specifically, this title is based on a true story, which it really isn't, but I want to explain this. So if you look at the Japanese cover, it does not say anywhere that this is based on a true story. However, they did stick this in Fatal Frame, and while to a degree it can be true, it really isn't. The Humidor Mansion is a physical location located on the outskirts of Tokyo. The stories and the murders of the Humidor Mansion are considered as an actual urban legend. That means an urban legend is considered nothing but a rumor, so we can't really take that as an actual factual event. If we're taking a look at the producer of the title, he stated that the game really isn't based on the story, but rather on the urban legend and focusing on that aspect and bringing it more into light. He didn't really focus more on the story actually being true. However, that was thrown into the US version. So just imagine that someone said that the legend of Bigfoot is real and that it's an actual story, but of course it's factually untrue since it's considered an urban legend. So finally, we're going to be going into the main character Miku, and this is the last aspect I wanted to touch, which is actually her character change and what they did with Miku. While the gameplay is very much exactly the same as you would expect from both the Japanese and the US version, they did change a couple things with Miku that is actually rather interesting as to why they did it. Similar to the cover changes, they made some changes to her physical appearance as well as her voice as you would expect, and made her a little bit more mature, if you can see.
Wait.
If you can see in this clip right here, they made several changes to her face, her eyes, her nose, several different proportions of her face to make her look slightly older in the US version, as well as adding a little bit of red lipstick. And on top of that, they did change various aspects of her torso, considering they changed her school uniform with the red scarf to a red shirt and a white coat, changing her knee socks into knee-high boots. So little various aspects, what they wanted it to do was to make her a little older, both in appearance as well as voice. So if you see her, she has a little bit more of that maturity, if you can see. The Japanese version is the only title that has the original model change. However, from the US version onward, as well as the ports, they pretty much have the new Miku model, including the Japanese version. So it's an interesting thing to know. But that's it, guys. I just wanted to pick a little bit of the regional differences. There isn't too much to talk about, but I think it's really interesting to see the differences between the Japanese version as well as the US, to see the cultural differences as to what Tecmo was trying to advertise both in the Japanese and the US title. So thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate you guys looking at this video. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever you want to do, comment. I always talk to you guys on the comment section. Next, if you guys can, head over to my Twitch. I stream every single day at 6 p.m. Pacific time. You could check out my new scheduled time, as I have changed my couple times. I am currently playing Catherine. Come by, you guys will enjoy it. Lastly, if you guys have any other questions or concerns, head over to my Twitter. Send me over a comment what you would like to see from me, and I'd be more than happy to take a look and give you guys an answer. So I think you guys will enjoy it. But thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to check you out next time.